Hey everybody, welcome back. So I thought since we did all the hardcore tedious stuff in the skill tree that we'd do something a little bit more fun and set up a MegaMan style charging particle. Because it's pretty simple, pretty fun, so let's jump into it. So I got a clean project here. First thing I'm going to do is right click and create a blueprint interface and call it charging underscore BPI. I'm going to double click and open that up, and for the first function call it charging. No, just charge. I'm going to add a new function and call it launch. Compile that, and we're pretty much done with it. So we'll open up our third person character. Under class settings we'll add that charging blueprint interface so we can access those. Then back in the project browser we'll open a right click, create a blueprint class of an actor. Call it charge ball underscore BP. Got tongue tied for a second. I'm going to double click and open that up. Add a component of a static mesh. And I'm going to use a sphere, material sphere in particular. It's because I like the way it looks with the effect on it. This will work with whatever though. Then I'm going to add another component of a particle system. Make sure it's parented so that you can do like that. Because if it's not, it'll look like that. If it's like that, then you can just right click or just click and drag onto it. Not right click. I'm going to set its emitter to be sparks, and then set it scale up to where I can see it on the outside, probably about 4, 3. 3 is better. Add one more component, not particle, projectile movement, and make sure its initial speed is 0, max speed is 0, and the gravity scale is 0. Compile. We'll go to our class settings, add our charging interface, and now we'll make this a little bit prettier real quick. So in our content browser we right click and create a material. Call it charge ball underscore matte, and I'm going to show you where you can get a texture for it. Pretty simple. All I did was I went to Google and I just looked up black and white cloud textures, and right on the first page I found this one, so I'll right click, save image as, and then just save it. I wouldn't use these for commercial purposes, but for learning purposes it should be fine. Now you can't use this base version of it, the JPEG file. The Unreal Engine doesn't recognize it, but we can right click it, open with Paint, which should be standard on your computer or whatever painting system you use. Then I'm going to file, save as PNG picture, just texture, save. Now it's right here. I'll go back into the engine, import, and find that file, and then there it is. So now we'll open up our charge ball material, and I'll just grab it and drag it in, or you can have it selected and hit T on the keyboard in here. Doesn't work that way. If you have it like this, it does. So you can click it like that, and then go in and hit T on the keyboard and click, and it'll automatically bring it in. With this selected, we will change its blend mode to masked. We'll drop this down and hook this to the opacity mask. We'll hold 3 on the keyboard and click, M on the keyboard and click. We'll set the constant B to 50. I'm going to make this a bluish color, and then hook that to emissive color. Now in order to make it spin, I'm going to right click and type in panner and hook that to the UVs of our opacity mask. And for the speed X, I'm going to set it to 0.1. You can set it whichever way you want though. You can have it swirl up to like that, but you know what, I actually like it. I'm going to leave it like that this time. So now I'll go back into, with that material selected, go back into the charge ball to my static mesh and set its material to that. It looks funky right now just because it's selected. It won't look like that in the, see if I selected it. It looks decent. Now I'll go to the event graph, get rid of that, compile, and on begin play we want to cast to our character. So cast a third person character, get player character, and promote that to a variable called player ref. Now in our third person character, we're going to get rid of all of this. We're going to right click and add an event on right mouse button. We're going to add a boolean called charging, drag it out and set it to true. After that we're going to spawn actor from class. We'll go to our viewport real quick and set up a scene component. Drag it out a little bit because this is where I'm going to spawn the ball at. You can spawn it from anywhere if you have a particular place in mind. I'm going to hook this up, set the class to our charge ball, drag out our scene component, get world transform, and hook it up. Then off the return value, drag off, promote it to a variable called current charge. Then we're going to get all actors with interface of our charging, where is it? Charging interface. Off the out actors, we'll do a for each loop, hook it to the execute. Then we'll drag off the array element and get the equal sign because we want to find out if the one that's found is equal to our current charge. B left click for our branch. Hook that up, and if true, then we want to do our charge message. Now on released, we'll add a branch, and we'll drag out our charging, get it, and if we are charging, then we've spawned all this and we want to fire it now. So, okay, we want to grab all that, Control C, Control V. Off true, we want to set charging back to false. And then out here, after we get all the actors with the interface, make sure it's the one that's our current charge, we will call our launch message. Hook that to true. Compile that. Now in our charge ball, we will type in event charge. Now we will do a branch, drag out our player reference and find out if they are charging, because we're going to loop through this a few times. And if they are charging, then we want to grab out our static mesh, get relative scale 3D, now off this we want to break the vector, and off each one we're going to drag off and do a less than, float, less than, float, less than, just less than, not less than and equal to. Line them up a little bit. Then we'll add a branch. So if they are charging, drag off the first one and type in and, add a pin, hook all these up, hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. So if they are charging and the scale of the mesh is less than, I'm going to drag off and promote to a variable called max scale. hook it to all of the bottom sides of these, and then I'm going to compile so that I can default this out to 1. So if the scale of this is less than 1, we can drag out one more and set relative scale 3D. And we will get relative scale 3D one more time. Vector plus vector. Set that to what our new target is. I'm going to set this to 0.005 because this is going to fire off pretty quick and we don't want it to scale up too rapidly. Now we'll add another variable called damage and turn it into a float. I'm going to default this out to 1. We'll grab it out, get damage plus float, set this to about 0.105. That was what got it to about an even 20 at full charge. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll grab out one more and set the damage to the new amount. Now we want to make sure that it's going to stay in sync with where our character moves. So no, we're not going to do that. We will set actor location, hook that to true. We'll grab out our player reference, get the scene component that we spawned our particle at, get world location, and plug it in just like that. And at the very end, we'll add a re-triggerable delay. Set it to about 0.1, I guess. And then from the completed all the way back to our first branch to see if our character is still charging. Then we'll right click and get our event launch. We'll drag out our projectile movement, set max speed to about 1,000, set velocity what we're going to do is we're going to drag off our player reference, get actor forward vector, copy that, paste it down below. Just like we're doing a line trace, we're going to do a vector times a vector on the first one and a vector times a float on the bottom one, hooking this return value into our velocity and setting this to our max speed. I'm going to drag this way a little bit, drag this back, hook that like that, compile, and let's test it out. Oh, okay. So in our false, we want to hook that all the way to our set actor location. In our static mesh, we want to set that to 0.1. We're going to scale it down. I forgot to do that part. That's why it just spawned automatically. So, well, that's too slow. Let's go back into our charge ball in the event graph. And, oh, that's supposed to be 0.01. Good deal. What we might want to do for the static mesh of our charge ball is go down to its collision and change it to overlap all. And one more thing we can do in our player blueprint is to make it feel more like they're using some kind of powers. We'll drag out our character movement, set walk speed, set our max walk speed when we are charging to 0. And when we're done charging, we'll set it back to our full run speed. and then hook our character movement to it, so that when we're running around and we try to do it, it stops us, but we can still aim, and then we can launch it out. So it's a pretty simple method of having a charging attack. It'll also get more power. Oh, it reflects off him really cool. I like that. Neat. But pretty simple. And you could use it for like a Metroid style thing or a Spirit Bomb style thing, whatever you feel like. But that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch y'all later.